With me today is iMove, the doctors from iMove here in Holland, Michigan. And introduce yourselves for me and tell me a little bit about iMove.
So my name is Jeff Clark. I'm a physical therapist and one of the two owners at iMove Physical Therapy.
And I'm Chris Burtis. I'm the clinic director in our Holland location.
Fantastic. So how long has iMove been around?
iMove as a company has been around for 17 going on 18 years. We were founded in Spring Lake as Shoreline Sport and Spine. And then in 2013, we went through a rebranding, renaming, and we decided to call ourselves iMove. And Shoreline, Sport, and Spine, all three of those terms were limiting, and we wanted a name that represented more kind of comprehensively what we did as service offerings and as kind of a geographical location.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, it stands out.
Yep.
And just interesting enough, yeah, I think about it every time I come here. So, I mean, obviously I came here and met with Kylie, and I just thought it was very cool that you're talking about movement, and that's what we need for our bodies, right?
Yeah. And one of the things we really enjoyed too was there's obviously the move, which is a core of what we do, and then there's the I'm contraction at the beginning of it, that I'm healing, I'm recovering, I'm getting faster, I'm getting stronger. That contraction really can represent our clients really well.
Right. Excellent. So here in Holland, what typical clients do you see? Are they all sports people? Are they all seniors?
Yeah, it's a mix. I would say that we're primarily an orthopedic or sports medicine clinic.
Okay.
So we see a good chunk of high school and college athletes. We work with a lot of the local high schools and Hope College. But we're also seeing people, anywhere from infants with, neck and torticollis issues to young middle school kids dealing with growth related issues, all the way up to kind of end of life knee replacements and spinal fusions and the things that are kind of like helping people with their quality of life.
Right.
So we see a good mix, which I think makes the job really enjoyable.
Right.
Too much of the same thing in any job I think kind of gets boring. So we really enjoy being able to kind of work with all those different kind of subsets of people.
Excellent. Now, what does it take to be a physical therapist? Because I've heard different things over the years, and I think maybe it used to be different.
Yeah, so the main thing is that you have to be licensed in each state that you work. You have to have a license. And in most of the states now, you have to graduate from a doctorate in physical therapy program.
Okay.
And so the majority of working physical therapists now have their doctorate in physical therapy, but all do not. Chris has his DPT, his doctorate, and I'm just old enough that I have a master's degree in physical therapy.
Yep.
And there are still a few older practitioners who have their bachelor's degree.
We'll say mature.
Yeah,
Mature.
right? Yes. Yep. So I've been out a little over 20 years. Most of the people that graduated in my area were master's degrees. Chris has been out about 10 years, and most of his peers and newer have their doctorate.
Okay.
Yep.
And so what makes, I mean, you said a little bit about your name and what differentiates you, but what else really differentiates what you're doing here at iMove?
Yeah, I think that our company is owned by two physical therapists. It always has. I wasn't one of the founders, but it was Dave and Marty who were the founders as physical therapists. Dave left the company 4 years ago, and I had the opportunity to join. And we as physical therapists, we want to create a company that a PT would want to work for.
Right.
And I think when you have a bunch of PTs who work for physical therapists, we can create an environment that makes for really happy providers, and your provider is happy, your provider is in it for all the right reasons, then the patients can feel that, and there's a great energy that comes from that type of foundation for the organization. And then Chris, can you mention the one-on-one?
Yeah, so I think something that's unique about our company in comparison to some other companies in Holland is that we see patients one-on-one for 40 minutes.
Okay.
So a lot of times in physical therapy, patients are getting double booked. Physical therapy tech, which might be a high school kid looking to get into the profession.
Right.
And so you get bounced around a little bit. So someone might be working on you and shouting at someone else across the room. Where our setting is in Holland specifically, we only have physical therapists on staff as far as rehab.
Okay.
And it just creates a better experience because we're with you with every step. So if you're squatting and your toes sticking out a little bit to the side and it's creating a little bit of a pinch in your hip, we can kind of adjust that real time. And you have that one-on-one dialogue throughout your whole time. And I think that's the biggest thing that honestly sets us apart.
That's awesome. I know, 40 minutes is a lot. I don't know if I've ever been, and I've been to a lot of physical therapists. I don't know if I've ever been to one where you take that time. And I appreciate it because, I mean, as you guys know all too well, when you've had an injury that you've had your entire life, basically, like in my case, you just walk wrong, you squat wrong, you sit wrong.
Yeah.
And it takes time to refine all of those little things.
Yeah. Yet another related thing that I think helps set us apart is we try to take a very head to toe approach. And if you come into physical therapy and you have an ankle problem, we aren't going to put our blinders on and just look at your ankle. What is your knee doing? What is your hip doing? How is your spine contributing to that? And the reverse would be if you come in with a back pain, we're going to look at the entire chain. And sometimes your shoulder problem is actually related to what's going on at your foot and ankle. And we're going to try to tie that all together. And I think that whole body functional approach, in addition to the one-on-one care that we provide, really has been able to differentiate us. And it's allowed us to grow from one location in our when we started to now 9 locations throughout West Michigan.
That's fantastic.
So that growth is fun.
I love that. I love it. And I see you all over when I'm driving because I do a lot of driving.
Yeah, sure.
So it's great to see you.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that though because I was very nervous. I had knee replacements within 2 months of each other. And I thought, what about my other one, which is not ready to go yet, and now I have to work on this other one. And I appreciated that, Kylie was able to help me with both at the same time because I didn't know if that worked, when you're talking healthcare and all that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I love it. So what about you, Jeff? Personally, tell me a little bit about some fun facts.
I live in Spring Lake, Michigan. I have a wife and 3 daughters, so we have a very busy and fun household.
Nice.
I grew up in the east side of Michigan, up in the Thumb, in a little town called Bad Axe. And my wife is from the west side of the state, from Muskegon, so we ended up over here.
Nice.
And love this side of the state geographically. The people here are amazing, so we've been here for about 10 years. I lived and worked in Chicago for a decade when I graduated school, and then I've been back here for about 10 years too. And
fantastic.
I've always wanted to own a physical therapy company. Graduated from PT school in 2001. 2004, I started my MBA, and I finished that in 2006. And I knew then that I wanted to run a business and be a physical therapist. And it just took a little while from 06 until 18 to really figure that path out and find the right company to be a part of. So the opportunity was there, and I was very happy to be able to take it.
Fantastic. It's nice that you have both the technical and the business side, which comes in handy, I'm sure.
Yep, and I have a lot of great people that work for us that help with all of those. But it is nice to have, for me to have the balance.
Sure. So Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I grew up in Hudsonville, Michigan. I went to school out at Grand Valley. I started working with iMove, about 10 years ago. So I've actually spent my entire career with this company. One of the reasons I've chose to be with the company is because of the way it's run and how we're able to treat patients. I always tell people, when we go out to, networking things with doctors and stuff, we, in a way, you choose to make a little less money to do a job the way that you feel like it's right to do.
Right.
And I think that's a huge value that I see. In my personal life, though, I really enjoy playing pickleball.
Oh, wow.
And as you might know, a lot of people get injured playing pickleball.
So, my husband.
Yes. So that's one of my big hobbies, but just kind of racket sports in general. So my wife likes to run, so I run with her. Yeah, I do quite a bit of running, and I treat runners here too, which is it's kind of fun when your hobbies and your career and your passions kind of weave in and out.
For sure.
Because I think that makes it just makes it enjoyable.
Agreed. I usually like to pick doctors, orthopedic doctors, when they actually were an athlete, because I was in the military and so I had to run. I liked running, but I needed someone to understand that and not try to limit me.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Yeah,
that.
one of the things that people are afraid of when they come to see a physical therapist for running is that the physical therapist will tell them, well, just don't run,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And we have a rule that you don't tell a patient to do that. We're gonna work with them and try to
Right.
help them heal, recover. You might have to cut back, but
Sure.
the answer is never don't
Yeah.
run.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do folks find you if they are seeing this and they're like, I need to get in there, I have all these issues?
Yeah.
What should they do?
So the most common access point is to go to your physician and get a referral.
Okay.
In the state of Michigan, most insurances require that you have a physician referral in order to have your physical therapy reimbursed by the
Okay.
insurance. There are direct access laws in the state of Michigan where you can come straight to the physical therapist,
Okay.
depending on your insurance.
Okay.
That sometimes works.
Okay.
So our website is a great way to access us, iMoveDaily.com. Calling directly here, speaking to Peggy, she's a wealth of knowledge, and you can ask Peggy some questions about what you need to do in your individual case in order to access physical therapy.
Excellent.
Especially if someone's been a past patient. If they have someone they know, they're like, oh yeah, I think, my brother's shoulder's a little sore and we don't know if PT is the right fit and they're nervous about the cost. We do pain assessments for like $30. And
Okay.
with the direct access laws, people can come in, pay that $30. They don't have to mess with insurance or scripts or
Nice.
anything. And then we can evaluate and say whether or not they're a case for PT or if maybe they need to go see the surgeon right
Right.
away. And that's just a really easy way to kind of like get exposure to the setting
Right.
and see if PT is the right fit, see if you're the right fit with us.
Sure.
And then in those appointments, sometimes if you think that you want to start with PT, we do insurance courtesy checks.
Oh, good. Okay.
So people
Fantastic.
will give us the information, and then Peggy will kind of hunt down the answers to like what coverage is, how many visits, what the cost
Okay.
might be expected.
Perfect.
And that just really makes the process similar. So if there's any hesitation, that's an easy way to kind of test the waters a little bit.
Right. That's great to know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both. I
Mhm.
appreciate you, your willingness to speak with us and share your information. I know I love iMove and a lot of folks do. So we'll get this out there and hopefully you'll help some more people in the future.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
You're welcome.